You know, as I journey on in my walk with Christ, my growth in my relationship with Christ, because He told me this the other day, and He explained to me that where you're comfortable at can be your imprisonment spiritually. And that if you say that you put God first, because out of ignorance, when I was halfway in the world, half in the church, I would say, oh yeah, God comes first in my life, and I continue on living worldly, living carnally. And the only time that I, pretty much put on a good face was when church on Sunday happened. So I really wasn't living truthfully with what I was confessing. But it took me years to understand this and for God to explain to me, because God, the Holy Spirit, will give you revelation. And He will reveal things to you the more you go deeper in your walk with Him, in your growth in your relationship with Him. Because you grow in your relationship with God. I know a lot of people say building. I used to say, oh yeah, I'm building a relationship, but someone made me realize that you don't need to build a relationship with God because He already loves you. That's like saying as soon as my mom birthed me, I gotta build a relationship with her. Like, that doesn't make sense. Excuse me. That doesn't make sense. So He told me this. He explained this to me. And I was like, that is so true. Because if I say that I put God first, and that, Lord, you come first in my life, I am going to have to do away with what is comfortable to me, because that could be holding me back. See, when I think about the children of Israel and how God delivered them from Egypt, right? Even though they was delivered, and after all the signs that God did through Moses, and the miracles that Moses did, they still was carnal minded. They still was like, well, we want to go back to Egypt because we're not getting fed, or this is not just going well. Whereas, all this stuff, they complained, they murmured, and all of that, to the point where they had Aaron build them. They forced him to build them a god, one of the gods that was worshipped in Egypt. And so it's like, how can you see all this? Was given food made by the angels, and still your belief. It's because they were still trapped in their mindset. And this is where they felt comfortable, even though they was in slavery in Egypt. And that's where He explained to me, like, that's your imprisonment. If you want to live comfortably, if you want to stay comfortable, you're not going to grow. It's going to hinder you, and you're going to still continue walking around that same mountain. They was in the desert for 40 years. It don't take them but a few days, I think like 12 or 14 days, don't quote me on that, to even get across the Sahara Desert. But it took y'all 40 years. Some of y'all, just like I was in that situation of walking around the same mountain, wondering why is the same thing happening over and over and over again with me. And you have to come to that realization, because as you grow, the Holy Spirit is going to reveal things that was going on in your life that you were ignorant to, because you didn't realize that you was just living ignorantly. I mean, in Hosea 4:6, it says, my people perish for a lack of knowledge. And it's not talking about people knowledge. It's talking about knowledge of God, spiritual things. And a lot of people misunderstand that, because they think, oh, I got to get people knowledge. Okay, well, it's that people knowledge and that fleshly knowledge that's going to have you living carnally. Okay, because I don't care how smart you are, you can still be a fool. Okay, so you are going to have to exit it out of your comfortability. Where you feel comfortable. Is it comfortable at home, just being in your own space? Is your comfortability in someone? Is it in your kids? Is it in your parent? Is it in a significant other? Is it in your spouse? Are you relying so much on these people that at any given moment they can let you down? Not purposely trying to let you down, but I'm saying, like, they can let you down. That's why you don't put your trust in man. You need to put your trust in God. He should be your comfortable space. Place. He should be your comfortable place, because he's not going to let you down. Like he said, he'll never leave you nor forsake you. Okay? So you need to come out of that comfortability that you've been, just simmering in, marinating in for all these years and all this time since you've been in your walk with Christ. It's time for growth, and it's time to understand spiritually, and it's time to disconnect, but not cut off these people. I'm not saying cut off anybody. That is something that you're going to have to talk with God. But as far as you relying on them and your comfortability, that needs to be cut off, because you need to have your comfortability and your safe place and who you rely on, which is God. Like he said in his word, we are seated in heavenly places. You're not seated with who you feel comfortable with or doing. You're seated in heavenly places. We are to be with our King. Okay? So I pray this helps somebody. God bless you. And always keep it peachy.